Oh, say doth the star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the brave. All right, that was a little something there, guys. Welcome. It's another Tuesday evening. It's another Tuesday evening, my friends. Welcome to the live. Yes. We are here together again. Thankfully, we are here together again. We could have not been, based on all that transpired since the last time we were here. But we're going to be grateful, and we're going to say thanks to the powers that be for allowing us to be here again, because it was because of nothing that we did. All right, I see Keisha is in the house. Keisha says she is waiting. All right, Keisha is waiting. Who else is there? Who else is waiting? Welcome into the line, guys. Hey, Keisha. Good to see you, my love. As always, thank you so much for coming. Who else is in the chat? Welcome into the chat, guys. We are going to be... Wait, we need some music. I can't take the chat when it is quiet. So can we play that music? Okay. Okay, there is... It is Tuesday, guys. The end of Tuesday, actually. Tuesday is coming to an end. And we are super grateful for today, yesterday, tomorrow that's not here yet, and every day. Today I posted a story that has gripped the nation over the last few months. Because unless you were in the nursing profession, and even some of us were in the nursing profession, we had not heard of the story. I by chance heard about it because a classmate of mine had spoken about it. Otherwise, I probably would not have heard about it. So I heard about it a year or two ago, something like that. And the story I'm talking about is the story I posted about the nurse in Tennessee who accidentally gave her patient a medication that was not ordered, a medication that, if not used with extreme care and caution, could lead to the patient's demise. Well, that's exactly what happened to this patient, unfortunately. And in most recent months, the district attorney in Tennessee brought the case to trial. And this nurse, who had already experienced extreme loss, because for every nurse who has ever had a patient pass away, you feel a sense of loss. Oftentimes, when you feel this sense of loss, you go back and you reflect a dozen times, 10 times. Was there something? Was there something that I missed? Was there something that I could have done differently? Why did this patient pass away? And as a nurse, you reflect on that. And if there's anything that you probably could have done or should have done that you didn't do, you might want to within yourself modify that part of practice just to ensure that it doesn't happen again. Because as nurses, we're humans. Humans are prone to error. But when we have other people's lives in our hand, just coming up, oh, you're not hearing? Really? I'm in there, I talk? That's interesting. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, tell me when you're hearing me. This is kind of strange. It can't be because of the little rain that's falling outside while you all can't hear me. What else am I supposed to do? Are you still not hearing me, Case? Case, how are you doing? So good to see you. Kind of strange. Are you still not hearing me? Are you still not hearing me, my friends? Oh man, I was trying also to play the music right here. And I wasn't hearing the music. Are you all still not hearing me, guys? Talk to me. Tell me if you all are still not hearing me. Tell me, guys, are you still not hearing me? I'm trying to troubleshoot here. Where this thing starts acting foul. Oh, it's turned all the way up, the volume. All right. Are you all hearing me now, guys? For me. On this thing here. Let's see. Let's see. All right, they say they're not hearing me. Hold on there, guys. I am going to listen here and see if I can hear it myself. Oh my gosh. Why is this thing acting so? All right, guys, we are come on into the live, my friends. Wait, I gotta. I don't understand why this thing. Hey, black money. Black money, you know I want green money. It's green money time, not black money time. Good to see you, my brother. How are you? How have you been? How has your day been? What's going on with you? Are you able to hear me? Okay, see, you hear me because you answered. All right. You see that? Wonderful. Wonderful. Because I've been here fidgeting with this thing because my friend Kay said she wasn't able to hear me. So I had to stop what I was saying to fidget with this thing to make sure. So now you are hearing me because you're responding appropriately. Beautiful. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to continue talking about what I was talking about. So, where was I? I was talking about the topic in reference to the nurse who accidentally gave the patient the wrong medication, which caused the patient to pass away. And as I was saying, that as nurses, we have a very, very serious job. We are the last, like my teacher from even LPN school used to say, we are the last line. We are the last in the line to save the patient in terms of being the last person to handle whatever medication it is that the patient is going to get. Because the doctor is going to prescribe it, the pharmacy is going to okay it, and we are the ones who are going to pull it and administer it to the patient. And because of that, the pressure is on us. Because if the doctor orders something wrong, hey, it's just something that's typed in the computer, written on paper. No harm, no foul. If the pharmacy okayed it, it was just something put on paper or put in the computer, no harm, no foul, right? But if you as the nurse hand this medication to this patient and have this patient ingest this medication that causes them harm, or you inject it in their veins or in their muscle, whatever the case may be, and it causes the patient harm, guess who is on the hook? You are. You are. And God forbid if the doctor writes the order appropriately, the pharmacy verifies it appropriately, and yet you as the nurse administers the wrong medicine. In this particular case that I'm talking about is of the nurse over there in Tennessee. The doctor ordered the medication, the patient needed to go. Let me just give you all a backstory before I start rambling and talking a whole lot. Let me give you a backstory. There's a video on my channel. You all can go back and watch it later on. But the patient comes into the hospital. The patient is suspected of having cerebral hematoma. The patient is supposed to go down to get a scan, an MRI. The MRI machine, you know, it makes a lot of noise, and some people, and it's very clustered, you know. So people who are claustrophobic, who cannot stand a lot of noise, may trigger their anxiety and stuff like that, usually have a problem with a machine of that nature. So the patient, making the nurse aware of this, the nurse intended to go get a sedative for the patient. She consults the provider. The provider prescribes Versed, a sedative. Versed is given many times for patients who are going under those kinds of procedures, just to calm them down, you know. The doctor orders 2 milligrams of Versed. The nurse, in a hurry, maybe got a lot on her mind. I don't know. I can't even, I don't know. I'm just speaking according to the facts that were brought out in court. She goes to the machine. Clearly, the pharmacy has not yet verified this medication for this patient. But she goes to the machine to get the medicine. She types in VE because you have to tell the machine what you want. So she types in VE. The machine, however their machine works, VE, the first medicine that comes up, if you think about it alphabetically, VEC and VER. Think about it alphabetically. Which one is going to come up first? Okay, you got it. So she had typed in only VE. She didn't type in, if she had typed in 3 or 4 letters, then I believe this tragedy would have been averted. But according to the court records, they said she typed in only VE. And the vecaronium popped up. She hit it, told the machine that's what she wanted. Machine opened. She picked up this medication. She hurries to the patient's room. She pulls up the 2 milligrams of vecaronium. She injects this 2 milligrams of vecaronium in the patient's veins. Vecaronium is a very, 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 very potent drug. It's usually used in surgery, in ICU, you know, to sedate patients. It's a very potent drug. You usually have to have like an anesthesiologist on hand, the doctor right there. It's a serious drug. Accidentally, she injects this medication into this patient's vein. And it's at that point, after she has done that, that she looks at the bottle and sees that the bottle is not saying Versed, but the bottle is saying vecaronium. Can you imagine how that nurse probably lost her bowel and bladder contents right there? Can you imagine how she felt knowing the effect of that drug and what's going to happen to a patient? But in true nursing character form, she hurried to the providers to tell them exactly what had happened, hoping that maybe they could administer another drug that would reverse the actions of this medication to get help for her patient. But the providers tried everything they could, and they could not save the patient because this drug, it's a paralyzing agent. It works very fast. So you can imagine her heart probably get shocked into and then, you know, starts up and then getting paralyzed and just going down. Can you imagine? Patient passes away, unfortunately. Now, this poor nurse is left to grieve the fact that because of her actions, she caused the demise of another human being. That is not why we go into nursing. And any nurse will tell you that whenever their patients pass away, it hurts them to their soul. When I first became a nurse, I used to be unable to sleep when a patient passed away. I would go back over the chart and look, and you know, at that time, in the initial stages of my career, I was taking care of people who were very elderly. Usually they were DNIs, and they were sort of expected to go at some point, but it would just hurt my poor soul. Like, what could I have done differently? You know, and oftentimes I really couldn't do anything, but it was just the human in me that made me feel like, wow, was it something I didn't do? Was it something I did wrong? I just felt that way, like, why this patient had to die. And as time went on, I had to accept it, that dying is a natural part of living, you know, and that I do exactly what I'm supposed to do. And so if my patient passes away, I don't feel that overwhelmed with grief like I used to feel. Because I used to feel so grieved. I wouldn't eat. I just keep seeing the person's face. Keep seeing the person. I'm like, you know, and oftentimes when the family members would come in and they would cry and stuff, it would just break my poor little heart, and I would just be so sad. And I realized that in an environment of such, where patients are always going to be passing away, if I continue to grieve that intensely, if I continue, I wasn't going to be any good to myself. I realized that after a while. And so I had to scale back. I had to calm myself down, you know, talk to myself, you know, Trev, you did the right thing. You don't have to worry about it. You know, it's okay. And very rarely, I don't remember, say, in the last maybe 10 years, in the last 10 years of my career, that I've had a patient go over that was not expected to go over, if you know what I mean. I haven't had a patient who unexpectedly passed away. Because if he was in the emergency room and they came in, you know, with some kind of trauma, you try your best, but at the end of the day, if that's what happened, you know, it happened. But as nurses, we have people's lives in our hands. We have people's lives in our hands. It is not like buying Burger King and it doesn't taste good and you throw it out the window. These are live, living beings. Regardless of how infirm they may be, they are living beings. They're somebody's mom, somebody's dad, somebody's parents, somebody's sister, somebody's brother, somebody's loved one. And the onus is on us to do the right thing, to cause no harm. And in the event that our patients start going south, it is our responsibility to rescue, to be able to rescue our patients. And so it saddens me, it really does sadden me that this happened to a nursing colleague. It saddens me because honestly, it could have happened to any nurse. But one question I had to ask is, I mean, even though they said it happened in the ICU, like, why was vecuronium even allowed to be on the override list. You shouldn't be able to override such a medication. You shouldn't be able to override any medicine that has the potential, all medicines has the potential, but it's the amount and the dosage. Because if you override 2 Tylenol for a patient with a headache, I can understand. And a lot of people would be more lenient with somebody who overrides 2 Tylenol for a patient with a headache, providing the patient is not allergic to Tylenol and stuff like that, and does not have, liver issues. But a medication as potent as Vecuronium, I don't think should have been anywhere near where any nurse could override it. That medication has to walk in the pockets of the anesthesiologist. The anesthesiologist has to have that medication to administer if it's so needed. And so I think the hospital has a responsibility, but you all know big corpus, they don't want to take responsibility for such a thing. And the funny thing about it wasn't even the hospital who brought the nurse to criminal charges. It was in fact the DA. Because the hospital had already settled with the family, had already fired the nurse. This happened since December 2017, guys. The hospital had already settled it, so to speak. They already paid the family thousands of dollars. They had already fired the nurse. So the only thing left for the hospital was to modify their policies, change their policies and procedures to ensure that this does not happen again. But lo and behold, the case was brought to the DA's attention, and he decided that, well, this is a case that I will take on and I will bring it to court and I will prosecute this nurse. So poor nurse, now she has lost a patient, she has lost her job, she can get another job, but now she has also lost her license to practice nursing. Now, last week, she was found guilty of criminally negligent homicide, which means that it was because of some kind of criminal negligence that caused the patient to die. This makes me very sad. Very sad. Why does it make me sad? There are lots and lots and lots of nurses, healthcare providers who have erred in the past when it comes to patient care. Patient care, like anything else, is not without risk. Just like driving a car is not without risk, but you're going to drive your car anyway. Taking a medication is a risk, but you're going to take it anyway. You're having a headache, you're going to take some Tylenol, some Motrin, whatever the case may be. You're going to take something. Nursing has come from such a long way. From our founding mother until now, nursing has come a long way. And I believe if Florence Nightingale was alive today, she would probably be depressed and distressed at the court's findings. I am not saying people are not supposed to be held accountable, guys. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying people are not supposed to be held accountable for their actions. People are supposed to be held accountable. Did this nurse err? Yes, she did. But what will happen now that all nurses, no, not that weren't aware, because I was always aware that if you cause harm to the patient, you could go to jail. And as nurses, we are aware of that. But what I am saying is, for this patient, in this particular case, The DA brought up that this nurse violated a lot, many. In fact, he said a total of 17 policies and procedures of good practice she violated before even giving the patient this medication. And because of that, she has to be held criminally responsible for the patient's demise. What kind of precedent? According to the ANA says this sets a very dangerous precedent for nursing. I don't know if anybody here agrees with the ANA, but I do. It does set a very dangerous precedent. Number one, it seems like it is designed to undermine honesty. Nurses are encouraged to be honest. If you give the patient the wrong medication, you give the patient wrong medication. If you give the patient too much of one medication, you give the patient too much. If you give the patient too little, you give the patient too little. It is called honesty and integrity, where you admit to not having given the patient the correct dosage of the medicine or not having given the patient the correct medicine. Okay? So do you think nurses are going to come forward now and say, well, oops, I gave a patient the wrong medicine? They're not going to. Why? Because they know that the possibility now exists, even more so now than before, that they could end up in prison if something were to happen to the patient. So they're not going to want to come forward to say that this is what happened. They're not going to want to. And if every mistake in nursing is going to require, some punitive reaction from your job, it's going to make nurses afraid. Should we be afraid? No, we shouldn't be afraid. I was watching something yesterday and somebody said it's going to deter future nurses from coming into the profession. I do not share that view because I don't think that it's going to deter them, anybody from coming into the nursing profession. Because if you want to become a teacher, if you go into the classroom, something happens, you do the wrong thing, you can go to jail too. If you do the wrong thing and somebody's child is involved, you can go to jail as well. It doesn't matter what it is, what profession it is that you go into. Just the other day, the young lady was the other day in Florida, the young lady was a bridge attendant. She was a bridge attendant. She accidentally lifted the bridge while there was a woman on it. The woman fell to her death, unfortunately, and now the bridge attendant is in jail. So I don't agree that it is going to be, this case I'm talking about is going to be a deterrent for future nurses to enter into the profession. Nursing is short. Nursing has always been short, but there are still people out there who are quite capable of nursing. And there are people out there who are coming into the profession. What I think is keeping people out of the profession is a lot of the prerequisites that they are required to have before coming into a nursing program. So that, I think, is because why I think a lot of people have not come into nursing. It's not because they are afraid or are going to be afraid that they're going to go to prison. It's more that their prerequisites, they don't have the prerequisites to get in. But if more people had the prerequisites to get into nursing, they would. Trust and believe me when I say that. They definitely would. Now tonight I was hoping, why is there so much wind? Now tonight I was hoping to have a guest on that we could talk about this. Someone from a healthcare. Hold on, let me see. Let me see if I can get in touch with her. Oh, wow, look who is here. I haven't seen you in a long time, Silva. How you been? Come talk. Ooh. That's a lot of wind. It doesn't sound like it is taking my house apart. Welcome, Silva. How are you doing? So good to see you. So good to see you, Silva. How you been? I haven't seen you in a hot minute. What have you been up to, my friend? Talk to me. Talk to me. Tell me what you've been up to. I'd love to hear from you. You coming with dollars here tonight? Look like tonight is the money night, because here I have black money. I have black money and silver dollar. Well, tonight might be the night for it. I'll take the money, I'll take the silver dollar. How you been, my friend? I was trying to get in touch with my guest. Nika! Nika is in the place. Nika, how you been? I'm so glad to see you. How have you been? We are here talking about the nurse who accidentally gave her patient the wrong medicine, and the fact that the patient passed on and she was charged and found guilty of criminally negligent homicide in the death of that patient. Yes, Nika, it is a very, very, very sad situation. I feel really, really badly. I'm doing good, my love. I'm doing great. I feel really, really badly for that nurse. And I cannot imagine what she's going through. I can only imagine her pain. I can also imagine and understand the pain of the family members. And the funny thing about it is that, with her having lost her patient, lost her job, lost her license, I think she has paid enough. Just my opinion, guys. We can have differing opinions, or we can express them, respectfully. So I think she has lost enough, having lost her job, her license, and I can imagine how she wakes up every day and beats up herself to say, wow, what a mistake I made that took somebody's life. This is not a criminal. This is not somebody who goes out to harm the public. No. Nika says, I feel bad for both of them. The nurse is in so much pain now. It could have happened. Exactly. That's exactly what I said. It could have happened to any nurse, because I know a lot of nurses who feel as though they are invincible and oh, it could never happen to me. Oh no. I look and I look again and I double check and I double check again and I know nurses like that with that ego that will tell them that, oh, that could never happen to me. But I got news for them. This could happen to anybody. What I want to see is changes across the board. Changes across the board in policy and how hospitals or healthcare facilities support nurses and support the mission of ensuring that no harm is committed to the patients. Nika said, could at least nobody say, I agree, Nika. I agree. Since 2017, this woman has been grieving. She probably goes to her bed every night and think about the patient. The woman is already in jail. She is already imprisoned in her mind because of her own actions. That is torture. She did not go out there to go harm this patient. It was not her intention. It was an accident. What I think should happen now is that policies should be changed drastically to ensure that this doesn't happen again, because the same way it could happen to her. It could have been another nurse. It could have happened to any nurse under the same circumstances. So I would join with the others and say, no, you know, why put her in prison? Why put her in prison? What is that going to achieve? And then furthermore, the family was not even bringing criminal charges against her. So that is why I am saying it seems like the DA is out for blood, nurse's blood. Because the family was not suing the nurse. The hospital already fired her. She had already lost her license. She was already being punished. And then, bam, I don't know if somebody brought it to the DA's attention, I'm not sure, but here comes the DA bringing up charges, because this happened in 2017. And now the DA has brought up charges. And this nurse has had to go on to defend herself, and lo and behold, now that she's found guilty, she's looking at like 8 years in prison. I can only imagine the grief and the pain that she must be going through. Yes, the family knew she was trying to help. The family knew she was trying to help. Was it a terrible mistake? Yes, it was. Absolutely. It was a terrible mistake. But this woman did not go out there with the intention. I see people with intention to harm other people and harming other people. Not being prosecuted this vigorously. And this woman is not a threat to society. She's not a threat to society. So I don't know who they're trying to please by sentencing this woman, or is it that they want to send a strong message to the rest of us nurses to say, listen, if you make a mistake, you are going to jail. We are going to prosecute you to the fullest, and you are going to go to prison. Maybe that's what he's trying to do, because as I was looking over the information before I made that video today, it said that they are going to be sentencing this woman on May 13th. Those of you who are nurses, you know that Florence Nightingale's birthday is May 12th. They had all of this month of April if they were going to sentence her. And they waited until the week of Nurses Week. And I think that is because the DA wants to send a strong message to us nurses that you will remember this case. When it is Nurses Week every year, you will remember when you all are talking about nurses and how good nurses are and all that nurses have done for the healthcare profession and all of that. This situation will rear its ugly head, and y'all will remember that your colleague went to prison because she accidentally administered the wrong medicine and caused the demise of her patient. Boy, I bet a nurse is not about to rush to save life. If you make one mistake, you know what I mean, Nika? Yeah, I know we always say in Jamaican proverb, we say haste makes waste. Because oftentimes you're in such a hurry to do something that you end up doing the wrong thing and sometimes not even realizing it until afterwards. If you love nursing and you want to go into nursing, darling, by all means, I give you my blessing. Nursing is a great profession. Do not let this one incident or, you know, a few incidences dampen your desire to become a nurse if that's what you truly want to do. Nowadays, more and more hospitals are incorporating various measures that will ensure that if the nurse follows these policies and procedures, these kinds of incidences will not happen. My hospital just now, 2 weeks ago, come out with a scanning system. Two weeks ago, my hospital came out with a scanning system. You know how long we've been advocating for a scanning system? Because a scanning system is that scanning system is the difference between the right and the wrong medication. You scan that patient's armband, the medicines come up. You scan that medication that's in your hand, and it will tell you whether or not that medication is on that patient's profile. Had the nurse utilized that mechanism, we wouldn't be talking about this today. Nika says, Achu, might as well, you know, but a hurry. Yeah. Safely hurry. Hurry safely, Dan says. So the hospital didn't get fined. And that is one thing that I'm not sure if the hospital got fined. But what I do know is that the hospital had already paid restitution to the family. The hospital paid the family several $1,000s. They fired the nurse and they figured that was that. Whatever policy changes they were going to make, no, they were going to do it internally. The state wasn't called for an investigation and to criminalize the nurse. It wasn't until later on, I think maybe last year or so, that the situation was brought to the DA, and the DA decided to prosecute. So let me see what Nika says. I got the wrong injection once. It wasn't a bad one. They accidentally gave me an injection for pain when I was supposed to get something else. Oh, that's no good. Yeah, that happens too. John says scanners. You know what, John? I'm not sure about that, whether or not the scanners were working. But I'm going to read for you. The other instances where they found, according to the court documents, now you know guys, where they found that she was negligent in 17 other areas. And that's what they said led to the conviction. They said she was negligent in 17 other areas of policy that she violated. That ended up with the outcome that we got. So let's go with them over one by one. Number one, they said she took the wrong drug out of the machine. Yeah, we know that. She took the wrong drug out of the machine. I know some places have a policy where you have to put in at least 4 letters. If you're going to override something, you have to put in at least the first 4 letters in the spelling of the drug before it will dispense, because there are lots of drugs that begin with the same 3 letters, And that would reduce the risk significantly. In this particular case, the nurse, according to the record, said the nurse put in VE. And we know vecuronium starts with VE and Versed starts with VE. So she puts in VE. And that's how the vecuronium ended up in the equation. So she did put the wrong medication. So that was one thing. Number two, they said she did not properly search for the correct drug in the machine. They said she did not search for the correct drug, which means that when the machine opened, she just grabs, if she hit vecuronium, if she tells the machine that that's what she wants, that's the bin that's going to open. If she had in her mind at that time that I need Versed, and she looked on the bottle of the vecuronium, had she looked on it, I don't know, guys, I just feel so bad for her. Because once you remove the drug, I think the next thing to do is to look at it. You know, many times I pull drug and I look at the drug and say, oh, this is not what I wanted. Sometimes it's a pharmacy that loaded this drug in this cabinet and this is not the drug that is supposed to be in there. You have to look at the medication. Once it is in your hand, look at it. Match it with the order to make sure. Yes, John, exactly. Verify it. You know, and if it is that the patient was going for an MRI, there was a little time. Yeah, there was a little time to verify it. Patient was still breathing. There was a little time to make sure, because oftentimes the medication sometimes is not in the correct pocket, because it's human beings who pack those little pockets with medications, and sometimes there are errors. So you have to pay attention, you have to look. Well, according to them, they said she did not properly search for the correct drug. What they mean by she didn't properly search, that could go many ways, because is it that she didn't properly search by the way she typed it in, by just typing VE? That was not enough, clearly. And then she overrode the computer. The override of the computer is something that I am used to doing. I don't do that. I haven't done that in a long time, but it's something that we do in nursing. Nurses know it is something that we do. You know, you might have a patient having a seizure, and the doctor says, hurry and get me some Ativan. And you hurry to go get the Ativan. There is no time for verification from the pharmacy, and you hurry and you override the machine and you get the Ativan, bring it to the provider who is at the bedside. You understand me? In the case of an emergency, and you do that in a hurry. But at the same time, even you are in a hurry, you have to be in a correct hurry. Like, you are in a hurry, but you still have to do the 5 rights, regardless of how much of a hurry you are in. Take the extra 30 minutes. Take the extra the extra 30 seconds. And look at the medication to say, oh, that's not what I have in my hand. What I have in my hand is not what I wanted. Exactly, John. John says in an emergency, exactly. But not for routine procedures, exactly. Having worked in the emergency room, I know how fast we can go on when we have to get stuff, you know, but you still have to pay attention. That you can't use it as an excuse. So I was busy, I was going so fast. Oh, I put the wrong medication, oh, I give it to the patient. No. That is why you have to look, you have eyes. Pay attention to what you're doing. Because these people's lives are in your hand. Their whole life is in your hand. One wrong move like we saw here could mean the difference between life and death. And that's somebody's family member. That's somebody's mom, somebody's dad, somebody's child, somebody's grandparent. And we know that we all are going to go to the other side eventually, but you don't want to be the cause of somebody going early. So let me continue to read the other charges that they found against her. They said she failed to verify with the pharmacy. So you see, the medication was ordered, you know, pharmacy has to verify the medication before you can pull the medication to give to the patient. Apparently she was in such a hurry, she didn't wait to verify. So they said she failed to verify with the pharmacy the medication. She failed to type in the correct name of the medication. So that's what we were talking about earlier, about typing in just VE rather than at least the first 4 letters of the word. The next one is she neglected to read the computer screen. You hear all these infarcts that they found on her, right? She neglected to read the computer screen. So chances are, I don't know if on the computer screen, because at my job, an alert comes up on the computer when you put a medication. If it's one of those medications, say for instance, you're going to pull, say, a blood thinner. You can't just go pull it by yourself. It asks for a witness. It will ask you, has the patient had any other medication? We'll name the medications. You're going to pull Eliquis. It's going to ask you, did the patient have Lovenox in the last 12 to 24 hours? It will ask you. So if you read the screen, that will be an alert for you. If you did not know that the Eliquis you are pulling is a blood thinner, once the machine asks you if the patient has had Lovenox in the last 12 to 24 hours, that should be an alert that sends off in your head to say, okay, so maybe I need to look up something else here. And that is why it is so important to pay attention to what it is that you're doing. Let me tell you what else they found. They found that the sticker said, warning, paralyzing agent, on the pocket of the drawer. You hear that? On the pocket of the drawer from which she took the medicine, it said, warning, paralyzing agent. And this is what I'm talking about when I said she must have suffered a catastrophic disconnect at that moment, because that was another stern warning that was bypassed. Number 8, they said she never visually checked the medication. She did not ask a second RN to check the medication. These are all that the court found. Not all, I'm going to continue. They said she did not properly identify the patient. Or does that mean that she didn't properly identify the patient? I don't know. She didn't use the scanning system. I am not sure. Number 11 says she did not scan the medication and patient wristband prior to giving the drug. I tell you, I was always so nervous at this job, at my current job, because I told you just 2 weeks ago, they come with the scanning system for which we have been advocating for years. 2 weeks ago. Okay, and I've been at other hospitals where we use the scanning system. Long time ago, we've been using the scanning system to avert tragedies like these. And I was always like looking and reading, and I'll stay there and I'll ask the patient, you know, this is the medication I'm giving you. This is what you're getting it for. Have you ever taken, you know how many times patients tell me, no, I don't take that medication. No, I haven't taken that medication in a long time. No, I don't. No. You know, or they say, no, I'm allergic to that medication or something like that. And it always rings in my mind. God bless Miss Flynn, my LPN teacher. It always rings in my mind when she would say to us, you are the last line against a patient getting the wrong medication. You are the last line. You are the one giving this patient the medicine to ingest. You are the one putting it in the vein. And I never forgot that throughout my career as a nurse. I never forget it. You are the last line. So if you give the patient the wrong medication, it is on you. Because if you have doubts, check with the provider. You have doubts, check with pharmacy. Talk to the patient, ask the patient, let the patient know what you are giving them. A lot of times patients have so much information about themselves. They will tell you, I no longer take this medication. I haven't taken this medication in 4 years. This medication gives me hives. I'm allergic to this medication. And you may not know if you don't talk to the patient. John says, this exact situation happened with a new nurse in ER. It happens that her supervisor saw it. We had to intubate the patient immediately. This happened more frequently than report. That is true. That is true. It happens more frequently than is reported. That is true. And a lot of times these things are dealt with internally, which I agree with. It's supposed to be dealt with internally. We don't want to scare the public into coming to the hospital. We don't want to scare them into not wanting to come to the hospital, not wanting to seek care. And when they do, they come in and give the nurses a hard time because they are so suspicious that, oh, somebody's going to give them the wrong No, we don't want that. So nursing does not need that negative publicity. No, they don't. We don't need that negative publicity at all. What we need is for the policies to be implemented and the policies to be followed. You understand me? I may not do a training for some reason, but when I go to my patient's bedside, you can be assured my patient is going to hear about every medication they're getting, why they're getting it, and if they have any questions about the medication. Let me go talk to the doctor before you take it. If you have just a little ounce like this of concern about the patient, you know Trevor ain't giving it to you. All right, let's go talk to the doctor about it. Let me have a discussion with the doctor about it. Because I'm the last line, and when I give it to you and you swallow it, unless you're going to induce vomiting, it's irreversible. When I put it in your vein, it's irreversible, unless you have an antidote right there, whatever it is. Blessed One, welcome into the place, sister. Blessed One is in the place. So good to see you, my love. How is your day going? I am having rain. I've been having rain all day. And it is also windy. I can hear the wind knocking down everything outside. All right. So I know that it does happen more times than is reported. And now that everybody is coming on board with the scanning system, I think mistakes like these should not happen anymore. Because you shouldn't give the patient the medicine without verifying it, scanning the armband and scanning the medication. I was super overjoyed when my hospital rolled this out 2 weeks ago. I'm not happy with all the stuff that's on the computer that I can't navigate. But I'm learning to navigate that. But I am super happy with the scanning system. Super happy. Because that will mean the difference between a nurse getting the wrong medication and a nurse getting the right medication. And there are some facilities that pharmacy is not available at night and stuff. I have pharmacy at my disposal 24/7. And ask if I don't use them up. Because this is one thing that no nurse wants on her conscience. To give the wrong medication and cause the patient's demise. It's so hot and dry here. Oh, hot and dry. Oh my. Oh my. But let's think about the hospital culture. It's more stressful than it should be. That is so true. And it's clear that there is a culture, because when I listen to this nurse, she says that she has been overriding medications all her career. It's something that we do. And she's not wrong. She's right. It's something that we do. You override the medication, but you still have to pay attention. Read the label. If there's a big red sign, on Vecuronium usually have a big exclamation sign on it. If there is the scanner, the inside of the machine is telling you that this is a paralyzing agent. I don't know. I feel so bad for her. But let's think about those. Okay. So the scanning system passed back in 2005. John, we are so late. So late. I said 2 weeks ago. On March 19th. On March 19th, the rollout came for the scanning system. So late to the game. And all before that, in my nursing career, I've been using the scanning system. You know how many times you scan the armband and scan the medication and the thing tell you this medication was not ordered for the patient? Because the doctor may say to you, give the patient this amount of morphine and this amount of Zofran for me. And you go and you override it, thinking that by the time you get back to the computer, it's going to populate. And you come back and you scan, and it says this medication is not ordered for the patient. Me ain't giving it. I'm not giving it. I gotta hurry up and put it in. Hurry up! Hurry up and put it in. I call pharmacy, be on the lookout for this medication for this patient, and take a quick look and verify for me. 5 minutes. Not gonna cause the patient any more harm. It's better to be safe than sorry. Better to be safe than sorry. And you can't be in such a hurry, in such a big rush, that you do something that you end up regretting for the rest of your life. When if you had slowed down, spare the extra minute to do what you're doing, you would not have experienced the adverse event that occurred. Janice, I'm neither saying yay nor nay. I'm leaving. I'm neither saying yay nor nay. I'm leaving that part. I'm leaving that part out of it, sis. I am leaving that part out of it. But I became a nurse in the 2000s. And except when I worked at a nursing home where we back then it was paper charting, you would write in your. After that, it's been all scanning systems that I've worked with. This is the first time that I've worked without a scanning system. So I was just so happy when this scanning system came in. Confirmed since 2000. There have been over 9.8 billion days. No, sir, that can't true. Derek, how are you doing? Blessings, brother Derek. How are you doing? How are you doing? So good to see you, my dear friend. I'm so happy to see you as well. You know, when I see you come in the chat, I get super excited. I know you're going to drop some gem. I know you're going to drop. I know you're going to drop some knowledge down in the chat there, Derek. How are you doing? Derek said, belly full, late to the party, but greeted. No, you're not late, man. You're just in time. The belly full, but them starving. Have a lot and still wanted. You know that song, Derek? I just said belly full, that's the song that came to my mind. But anyway, good to see you, my dear friend. Good to see you. Thank you so much for stopping by as usual. I sincerely appreciate it. Sincerely appreciate it. All right, so we're going to continue. There is a simple look at the link provided and you, okay. All right, we're going to look at the link. We're going to look at the link provided. As we don't want to be scaring people into not wanting to come into the hospital because they are worried. Oh, blessed one, say belly full, but you're hungry. You're hungry, blessed one. Hush. Don't be hungry, sis. Don't be hungry. Okay. All right. John says, the only thing that I worry about is that many med errors are not going to be reported. Well, what I worry about is not that many med errors are not going to be reported, but that all hospitals, all healthcare facilities should be on board with policies and procedures that will minimize the amount of errors that occur. That is what I'm worried about. Because if all these policies and procedures are put in place and people are forced to use them, then we should be worried about the errors not being reported, because then the errors would have been minimized, would have less errors. Don't you think? That's what I think. That's what I think. There would be less errors, so we wouldn't have to worry about reporting or not reporting. Because if you have a good scanning system, and if you have, say, a system where there is no override, regardless of the circumstance, because if it is an emergency, there are like emergency kits, there's a crash cart, there's for emergencies. So if it's not that type of emergency, then why you need to override some medication? And then the hospitals would have to be forced to have adequate staffing. Because if you have adequate staffing and you have policies and procedures in place, and policies that you cannot easily violate. So if you have a system where nobody can override anything unless the pharmacy is included in that overriding decision, then that's another barrier to errors. Yeah, because if as a nurse, you are not the prescribing person, you are not the doctor, you're not the pharmacist, I don't think you should be overriding anything. I don't think you should be overriding anything. That should be out of your pay grade. Because it is indeed outside of your pay grade. You shouldn't be overriding any medications to give to the patient. shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. You wait for the provider. Wait for the pharmacy to put in the medication. Wait for the pharmacy to verify the medication. And then you move forward. But don't just get up. Don't just get up and go overriding medication. Because sometimes, you know, the doctor might say to you, give the patient such and such a medicine. And you run to go override it. And by the time the doctor goes on the computer, the doctor changes their mind. So from now on, nurses need to wait for the doctor. Wait for the doctor and the pharmacy. And don't be taking up things on yourself to go doing overrides to get yourself in trouble. Entering the hospital in today's environment is a definite cause of concern. Fact is, medical staff are still human and cover-ups are common. So as in the Navy and since I've been out, well, in every profession, you're going to find that. Yes, if something happened, yes, John. If something happens that is going to affect the image of the hospital, that is going to affect their staff, that is going to affect the way they are perceived by the community, if something happens that is going to affect their bottom line in terms of their finances, of course, yes. You're not going to air their dirty laundry. They're not going to say, oh, the nurse is here, you know, this happened, that happened, call the news and broadcast that this error happened at the hospital. No, they're not going to do that. And why should they? They shouldn't do that. Yes, John, I know that in the ICU, yes, there are instances, circumstances where, yes, an override might be warranted, but it needs to stop, just so that we can eliminate the possibility of incidences like this happening. Or there are many ways that we can fix this, you know. Medications such as Vecuronium that is so potent. John, I know. You wait for the doctor to write the order. You wait for pharmacy to verify it. It could take a while. When you override it, you just go in, type in the name of the medication. They ask if this is what you want to override. You click yes. The drawer opens, boom, you take the medication. Yeah. But this part of it, I think, should be eliminated. That's just my opinion. I think it should be eliminated where we can just go in and just take out a medication. Just override it and take it out and then wait for the doctor to put the order in. But we do it all the time. We do it all the time. We get Ativan for the seizing patient. We get medications in a hurry. And if you grab something in a hurry when the order is not yet in and you go to the bedside, you cannot scan it. Because if it's not in the system, you cannot scan it. So if you scan the patient's armband, it's going to tell you cannot give the patient this medicine because the medicine didn't populate on the screen because the medicine is not yet in the patient's profile. So you see, you still have to wait on the doctor. You still have to wait. You know, you are right about that. It is true, the nurse should follow the doctor's order to the letter, unless the medication prescribed could potentially harm the patient. That one used for the big C is a perfect example. Well, at my hospital, that one comes straight from the pharmacy and it's individualized. So nobody can't just go pull it and give it. It has to come from the pharmacy, labeled with the patient's name and information on it for you to be able to give it. We have to put, yes, John, that too. We are always policing our shelf, because even inside of the Pyxis, you will see it says this particular medication is in bin 15, and when you go into bin 15, it's not the same medication in there. That is why I stress that we have to pay attention. I look at the computer, I write it down, I go in there, I look at the computer again, I take it up. After I remove all the medicine, I go back over and tick, 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 to make sure I have them all. And to make sure that this is the medication that I intended to have. Because sometimes you never know, guys. Sometimes you never know. You might say that you are doing the right thing, and bump, an error creeps upon you. So we can't say that, oh, it won't happen to me, it won't never happen. No, you'll be surprised to know that the same thing you might say won't happen to you is the same thing that does happen to you. But I think the hospital has a responsibility to ensure that the environment in which the patients are cared for is safe. To ensure that it is safe. Because they're not going to just throw us nurses under the bus like this and say, oh, the nurse, it was the nurse, oh, it was the nurse. Felicia, how are you doing? Felicia said the computer was malfunctioning for a long time. See that? All time we work with broken equipment. See, that's another thing. The computer was malfunctioning for a long time. Okay. Thank you for that, Felicia. How are you doing, my love? Welcome into the live. Thank you so much for coming. And I sincerely appreciate your contribution to the chat. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, sweetheart. I appreciate it. I'm going to continue to read to my friends the rest of the charges that they said, the incidences of quote-unquote neglect that they said the nurse is guilty of. It says, I'm on number 11. Number 11 says she did not scan the medication and patient wristband prior to giving the drug. Number 12 says she did not check the medication name on the vial. Number 13 says she reconstituted the medication, ignoring the warning that says paralyzing agent on the vial and on the cap 3 times. It says here that it is written 3 places on the bottle. It says, when swabbed with alcohol, when introduced saline for reconstitution, and when she withdrew the medication. Oh, Felicia said, I always watch us, never commented. Well, thank you so much, darling. Thank you so much. Once you have commented, you are now a traveler. Thank you so much for coming in, my dear. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you. Derek says, no wonder that patient met their demise. The nurse did all checks wrong. I mean, that is why in my video this morning I said she must have suffered a catastrophic disconnect mentally for whatever reason. Because Vecuronium has a big Vecuronium written on the bottle. When you put the saline in it to reconstitute it, I've never had to reconstitute Versed. Yes, So that right there should say something. And there was a warning on the bottle and the warning on the cap. And oh my God, I feel so bad for her. I don't know. I feel so bad for her. As a fellow nurse, I feel really bad. I feel terrible for her. And one thing that I was trying to figure out is how long she had been a nurse. Because if she was a new nurse, you know, if she was a nurse who's been in the profession for a while, you know, you might have a different opinion about it. You know, not gonna say too much about that. I'm just gonna leave it. I feel really sorry for her. I am so sorry. No, Felicia said the medication started exactly, and the medication started with VER. The verse said it started with VER. The Vecuronium is VEC, but had she typed in VER, then chances are she would have gotten Versed and this would not have happened. But according to the report, they said she typed in VE only. So you know VE, all the medications with the word VE in their name at the beginning is going to come up. So she grabbed that one. And even with all the warning labels and everything, nothing. I think she suffered some kind of a disconnect. I don't know if she suddenly remembered something, an experience from some time, or she went, I don't know. But is the premix upon arrival from the pharmacy? Not all medications are premixed. Some medications come up in powder form, and you have to reconstitute it, and it will tell you how much, you know, how much saline to use to reconstitute the medication to get the desired dosage. That is why paying attention is so important. There are some medications that come already mixed. All you have to do is draw it up. And there are others that come in powder form that you must reconstitute. So you must put the saline in it to reconstitute it before you can give it to the patient. But because of the malfunction of the computer, that's why the error happened. Well, yeah, I understand that too, Felicia, that, you know, if the machine was broken, if the Pyxis was broken from where she took the medication, I could understand it, because that happens sometimes. But when she pulled the medication, she went to the bedside with the medication. There is the warning signs all over the medication. There is the name of the medication. I don't know. I'm going to leave it. I feel terrible, because no nurse should have to go through all of this. And so I feel terrible for her. And we know that the machines will malfunction a lot. In ICU, as far as I have read, yeah. Wow, something fell in my eye. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. There we go. The hospital, there you go, Felicia. The hospital is at fault also, but because they are one big, she got all the blame. There you go. I agree with you. I said that earlier, that the hospital is to be blamed. Whatever their policies were, whatever the case may be, I think they should take some responsibility. But as I had said earlier, Felicia, maybe before you came on, the hospital wasn't the one who brought charges against her. The hospital already fired her, and they had already paid restitution to the family. So in their eyes, that case was closed, and they would now have to just modify their policies to ensure it doesn't happen again. But lo and behold, the case was brought up to the DA, who decided to press charges against her. And that's how she ended up, you know, losing her license and ended up being brought before the courts on criminal charges. In the Navy, our IV bags and the medication IV, typically it was pre-mixed. But what you said, explain administer specific meds. Yes. Yes, and some medications, unless they are preserved in their powder form, they will go bad. So they can't be pre-mixed, because if you mix it, put it down, it loses its potency after say 12 or 24 hours. But in powder form, it can survive 4 months. And so that is why some medications are left in powder form. And when you get it, you reconstitute it with saline and you administer it. And as nurses, we have learned to do that, with the medications that we give. I heard it's a whistleblower reported it to the John, I heard that too, and I said to myself, I believe it's somebody at the hospital who probably was trying to harm her or the hospital. I heard that too, that somebody involved the DA. Somebody called the DA and involved the DA in it, saying that they're a whistleblower, and presented the information from the hospital that the hospital, I'm sure, was trying to keep within their house without the whole world knowing. Hey, Yard Foods is in the house. Yard Foods, how are you doing? How are you doing, Yard Foods? I'm so glad to see you. So good to see you. The hospital fired her before the trial. Yes, the hospital fired her since 2018. This happened in December of 2017. So the hospital had fired her already. The hospital had paid restitution to the family. The family was not after this nurse. The hospital was done with her. She was on about her business, maybe looking another job, grieving the loss of her patient. And then boom, somebody decided that they are going to get the DA involved. And this DA seemed like he was out for blood. Lord. That he was going to prosecute her criminally for it. And that's what he did. And he succeeded. So now she was found guilty. It's a felonious offense. So she's found guilty of criminally negligent homicide. And all of these that I'm reading to you here are the additional steps that they said, had she taken these steps, the patient would not have passed on. So number 14, they said she did not check the patient's vitals before giving the drug. She did not monitor the patient's reaction to the drug. Number 16, she did not monitor the patient's vital signs after giving the drug. Had she done this, she would have realized her errors and could have saved the patient's life. But I thought they said she was the one who discovered that she had given the wrong medication and told to the providers. So, at number 17, they said she left the patient in the room with no nursing supervision. Had she stayed 2 minutes, she would have seen that the patient was struggling. Those were the 17 additional items of quote-unquote neglect with which this nurse was charged. So that is why the DA said it was not just the fact that she gave the wrong medication and patient demise. It was all of these factors combined that showed negligence, according to him. Yes, guys. So that's how that. So what about the vital signs alarms? That is a good question. But here they say she didn't check the vital signs. I'm not even going to pay too much mind on all that they are saying here, because we know the circumstances may have been different from what I am thinking. And since I wasn't there, exactly, SpO2 gonna drop, heart rate gonna, you know, all of that. And because it's a paralyzing agent, you're gonna see muscle shutdowns. Yeah, the muscles are going to be paralyzed. So you're going to see changes in the patient. I don't know the time it took between the time she gave it and the time she left the patient's bedside. I don't know if she had the patient up to the monitor, the vitals monitor, or maybe she was thinking, oh, I'm just giving the patient some Versed to take the patient down to go get the MRI. And I don't know all those things. So I'm not going to be judgmental and say stuff to you know, hurt the feelings this nurse is already hurting. I don't know. John says they have to be hooked up to the monitor. You would think, right? And if the heart rate goes down to a certain below a certain number, it's going to beep. So I honestly speaking, I don't know. I do not know, because if it's a patient 75 years old and the patient has a cerebral hematoma, I would think that the patient is on telly. I would think the patient, I wasn't there. I don't know. I would think that there were monitors there to give out alarms to say that this patient was having a problem. For somebody to just peep in, eyeball the patient and say, all right, okay, I see what's happening to this patient. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate anything. I'm just going by what is public knowledge. You know, and I really, really feel terrible. Feel terrible that this could happen. Do you think every nurse who makes a mistake should be criminally charged, guys? Tell me what you all think. Do you all think every nurse who makes a mistake should be criminally charged? But some mistakes don't end up in the patient demising, but they are mistakes nonetheless. And the mistakes are reported so that changes can be made for the betterment of the profession and the newer nurses who are coming in to make it better. Oh, you don't think so? I don't think so either. I don't think nurses should be criminally charged, because I don't think any healthcare provider, you know, should be criminally charged for making an error. It's all a part of the game. I mean, I agree with you, Felicia. I don't think so. Because, you know, guys, all of it, you know, you saw, John, you saw just like my daughter. My daughter was like, Ma, this sounds like somebody had a personal vendetta against either her or the hospital or both. And that's why they did. Yeah. She should have went to the civil court, not well, the DA was determined to take her to civil court, to criminal court. The DA was determined to charge her criminally for the demise of this patient. So it's not her, it is It is what she was charged with. Derek says, no, it depends on the steps or missteps of the nurse. In this case, someone had an axe to grind. There you go. That's what I think too. That's what I think too. That somebody was out to get her. And let me tell you, guys, in this here nursing here, when you talk about somebody being out to get you, let me tell you something. There are nurses out there. There are nurses out there who will set you up. God knows I ain't lying. There are nurses out there who will set you up. Set up your patient for harm, but that's another story. That's going to be on another live. Set up your patient for harm just so that you can be blamed for it. Yes, there are nurses out there who will do such a thing. They will go in your patient room and remove a patient's oxygen. And create an excitement when the patient starts changing color. Create excitement like they just discovered something. Oh my God, if it wasn't for them, your patient would die. They just discovered that the patient's oxygen was not on. When it's them who remove it. Oh, she hasn't been sentenced yet, Felicia. She lost the license, but she hasn't been sentenced yet. And that brings me to the next part of it, where the DA, they are sentencing, the sentencing is set for May 13th. And I thought when I read that, like, wow, May 13th is a day after Florence Nightingale's birthday. Florence Nightingale's birthday is May 12th. That is the week of Nurses Week. So what do you think is going to be on everybody's mind this Nurses Week? What do you think is going to be on everybody's mind? This particular case is going to be on everybody's mind. The DA is making sure that us nurses, we will never forget this. We will never forget. We will never forget May 13, 2022. Every time we go to pull up a medication, we go remember. Every time we administer it, we go remember. He's making sure to make a statement so we do not forget. He got an axe to grind or something. Jai says so to them. Oh yes, they love to play the hero. Oh, they were the one who discovered. You leave your patient just now. Your patient is nice and comfortable, no problem. You walk across the hall, and in no time you hear excitement in your patient. When you come to find out what happened, oh, I came in there. Your patient was blue. Really? Seriously? I just walk out of here. Oh, my patient turned blue. My patient have oxygen on. Oh yeah, been there, seen them, worked with them. Keep my eyes peeled back all day long, looking at them. Yes. Because once I see you walking hand in hand with the devil, trust and believe me, I got my eyes on you. They want to play the hero. They want to say they're the one who discovered. They are the ones who find the problem, creating problem and trying to pretend like they're solving problems when they are the ones creating it. You right, Mr. Please don't say. Yeah, you know what I mean, Felicia. You know, you understand, sis. You understand. Yeah, they haven't sentenced her yet. She's looking at like 8 years in prison, which we're gonna wait. We're not gonna say anything yet about the sentencing. We're going to wait until when that sentencing comes forth, and then we will talk about it again. We will talk about the sentencing, but we're not gonna speculate and talk about it now because we don't know what is in the plans. But I just thought that it was pretty interesting that the date for the sentencing is in Nurses Week, and right there when we are, celebrating our founding mother, that is when. Guys, don't forget to hit the like button. Have I invited you to do something yet in this live? Oh, now I am. And I see my sister Winsome just roll up in the place. Winsome, how are you doing, sugar? So good to see you, my darling Winsome. How has your day been, my love? How has your day been? Oh yes, John, I have encountered co-workers like that who are always in a hurry to be the hero, to save something, to save. Yeah. Oh yes. But Christ is in the vessel. We can smile at the storm. Winsome, what have you been up to? Am I helping myself? I do medication all day. From this happens, oh my gosh. Lisha, I don't want you to not love your job. Nursing is a great profession. It is a beautiful profession. You understand? Lord of mercy, look at Kizzy. Kizzy is Kizzy. Oh my goodness, Kizzy. I'm so glad to see you, my love. How have you been? Where have you been all this time? Where have you been, Kizzy? Good to see you, sugar. Good to see you. I was over your house the other day. But you know how it is, when I am over your house and I have to, under some covert operations over there. But good to see you, my sister. Felicia said it hurts body. Yes, it does. It does. And all nurses should be concerned. All healthcare professionals who administer medication should be concerned. That if this is the precedence, if this is how it's going to be, more nurses are going to end up in prison. Yeah, because if you have people out there who are vindictive and cruel, and if the hospital could deal with it and present you with your punitive punishment, and the hospital pay restitution to the family and move on, but then there is somebody being vindictive and claiming that they are a whistleblower who has intentions of destroying you, destroying the hospital, then we're going to find that this is going to happen again and again. Oh, there is Johnny. There is a super chat. Yay! Thank you so much, my dear friend. You ever hear them say good friend is better than pocket money? Yes, good friend is better than pocket money. And that is my friend there for life. That is my friend of 30. How long no me have French Chinese? 33 years. Good God, a long time. Oh my gosh, 33 years. Ay. Good, I watched today. It's about time, Winsome. It's about time. Kizzy said, was in the corner peeping. Oh, you were as usual. You were in the corner peeping. Kishan Empire, I'm here, Lanika. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I sincerely appreciate your presence, Kishan Empire. Thank you so much for rolling in. Thank you for joining us, travelers over here. We love it over here. All the travelers over here, yeah, we have lots of fun. We get serious sometimes. But whatever it is, we do have a lot of fun. And I want to welcome you sincerely. And the other travelers over here are going to welcome you as well. Thank you so much. Lanika is here somewhere. She is somewhere in the chat. Maybe she's under the bench. Check under the bench. Maybe she's under the bench. Oh my gosh. Yes, it's early here. Other nurses say they can. Felicia, when I hear nurses say that, I just leave them to God and time. Because there is nothing that can happen to one human being that may not happen to another. And as nurses, we know it. We know it. Making a mistake is not person specific. All of us are prone to making mistakes. And I don't like to hear nurses think that, gets all egocentric, oh, they're better and it won't happen to them. And I don't have much tolerance for them with that kind of attitude. I don't have much tolerance, because what we should be extending is compassion. Compassion to a fellow nurse who has, I cannot imagine how traumatizing this is for her. It's traumatizing enough to know that it is at your hands that this patient went to the other side. That alone is traumatizing. Losing your job, losing your license. Everybody pointing finger, looking at you like, come on. What this person needs is compassion. And unfortunately, a lot of people, don't have compassion in their lives. So you have to forgive them. Oh, Kizzy, you love my background. Lord, thank you, darling. Thank you. You like my painting? You see my painting that I made? Yeah. That's my painting that my daughter taught me to paint. And I painted this nice little painting there. I leave it in the background. And you see it matches nicely with the green. And, oh, girl. Sister here ain't playing. Trying to get better. Kishon Inspired just contributed to the chat. Thank you so much, Kishon, for contributing to the chat. Thank you so, guys. You see that? Come on now. No big up Kishon for me now, Derek. Derek have the best big ups now. Big up Kishon Empire for me now, Derek. Thank you so much, my dear. Thank you so much. All right, Kizzy is saying hello. Derek saying hello to Kizzy. Kizzy and Derek exchanging pleasantries right there. Yes, these are my Unstoppable family. Anybody else in here with Unstoppable on their names? Anybody here? Yes, Felicia. Felicia said you find bad mind in every profession. That is true. You'll find it, but when I tell you that nurses who eat their young, my daughter said something to me. She said, Ma, the doctors cover each other, but us nurses, we eat our young. And I have seen that as a nurse over the years where nurses eat their young. I have had new nurses come in and older nurses have been in the profession for a while. Instead of ushering them in with love and, compassion and direction and stuff, they she's stupid. And you're like, calm down. You were a new nurse once. You probably made the same error or worse when you first became a nurse. Cut it out. Invite these new nurses into the profession with love, with compassion, with understanding, with care. Don't get on them, for an error. Teach them what you know. You don't know everything, but teach them what you don't know, because they don't learn everything in nursing school. Most of what you know is from practice. It's from practice. And you learn from the others. And we learn from each other. But there's nothing that grieves me more than to see a nurse who has been in the profession for a while exercise impatience with a new nurse. They're too slow. They don't know what they might do. Calm down. Calm down. Assist the nurse where you can. Help the nurse transition into the profession smoothly. When you start making them get anxious and, feel like they don't know what they're doing, you know what that does to their morale? You know how that makes them feel? Like they are no good, like they are stupid, or they don't know what they're doing. That's not what we should do. But I've seen it so many times. I was just like, oftentimes I just, I just keep on going about my business and leave people alone because I don't like confrontations. You know, I say, be patient with the nurse. Quit talking ugly about the new nurse. Cut it out. Yes, the nurse is new, but you were new one time. If you can't help the person, don't hurt them. Come on now. If you cannot help them to transition into the profession, don't hurt them. Don't say mean and ugly things that make people hate their job and hate the fact that they are there and wish they never had chosen nursing and wish they hadn't come. No, don't do that. And don't make up stories. Don't make up stories and tell lies. Generally speaking, most healthcare workers go into the field because they care about persons. Sadly, you have bad mind healthcare work. Tell me about it, Derek. Tell me about it. Oh, Kishan, you're welcome and bye, so you're gone. All right, Kishan, welcome. Thank you so much for having stopped by. I sincerely appreciate it. Clover Bonner Richard, welcome into the chat, Clover Bonner Richard. Thank you so much for coming into the live. Thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate you stopping by to say hello to us. We appreciate it. Derek, there's another one for you, Derek. Derek have the best big ups, you know, Clover. And you have the name of my bestie too, Clover. Yes, Derek has the best big ups. Oh, righty. And Derek has dropped Kishan's channel there. All right, Kishan, if you are still here and you have not yet connected with the host, you know what to do. I have a video up. I think it was like 7-something minutes up on this same topic. Go ahead, listen, and leave me a comment, and I'll get back to you sometime. After the comment is there, you don't have to worry about it. I will be back. Kizzy says, some of these healthcare workers don't love their job. They're just here for the money. Here in Canada, a nurse lady, what? 12 people been doing it for years and they finally caught her. Now she's sentenced. Really? How did she do that? Oh, wow. I did not hear about that one. I'm gonna have to look that one up. Ooh. That's not what we do, guys. We are not in the business of taking life. We are in the business of preserving life. That's what we do in this profession. We preserve life. Yeah. And so whenever a patient demises, it is a serious situation in the nursing profession, especially if that patient was not expected to demise at that time, and particularly if it was something that was done by the nursing staff that caused the patient's demise. The healthcare field is a practice. Oh, yes. Science in itself is a practice. Yes. There are significant risks. There are significant benefits. It's a science. It is a science. And the science is never over because there's always an experiment going on. Always. And inject always give them medication. Oh, really? Oh. So how did she get access to that medication? To medication she's been giving them that's causing that. Hey, Maribel Cedenio. Maribel Cedenio is in the house, guys. Welcome to my dear friend Maribel. Thank you so much for coming. How was your Tuesday, Maribel? Don't forget to hit the like button, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button. By this time, we should have at least 40. I lied. We should have at least 40. At least, I said, not just 40, but we should have at least 40. How many do we have? Oh, look at Choco Joy. Choco Joy, how have you been, my love? Good to see you, child. I enjoy it, child. I have to go and do. Oh. It was a pleasure having you, my friend. You know, you just knocked me off when you say you have to go do your wifely duties. Okay, sis. All right. I hear you, honey. Okay. Oh my God, my friend is the best. We're gonna do our wifely duties. Okay, sis. Say hello to your other half for me. Thank you so much for coming. I sincerely appreciate your input. And thank you again for that super chat. I appreciate it sincerely. Okay, Derek says, a list of the most notorious killers. Yes, I wanted to do a video on that too. Less than a month ago, I did a video on those nurses down there in Atlanta, it was, where the patient passed away. The family had set up that video. Can you remember I told you about that? The family had set up the video camera in the patient's room, and it recorded the nurses telling the patient nothing was wrong with him, and it showed the whole thing. That was not a good look at all. And the nurse who was the primary nurse for the patient that evening was sentenced to 8 years in prison. Yeah, not a good look. It's never a good day when any of my nursing colleagues gets sent to jail because of something they did on the job. A mega low shout. Oh yes, Choco Joy. Yes, so good to see you, my dear friend. So good to see you. Thank you so much, Choco Joy. There, Derek, I just dropped your link. You know, Derek is the best moderator ever. Derek, grab the link so fast and drop them so fast. All right, Choco Joy. Janet, love you too, Jan. You have a great night, sugar. Love you, my dear. And Choco Joy didn't even realize that was her link. She says, oh, that's my link. Guys, here is Choco Joy. Connect with Choco Joy, my friends. Connect with Choco Joy. If you don't have Choco Joy, connect with Choco Joy. Thank you so much, Choco Joy, for coming in. How have you been? I haven't seen you in a little bit, but I'm happy to see you now. I'm always happy to see you. But I'm always happy to see you. Thank you so much for coming. Guys, I thought there was like about 40 people who came into the chat. Guys, if you are leaving the chat, don't forget to hit the like button before you go. Do not forget to hit the like button before you go, because I noticed that we are only at about 20, and I am sure that more than 20 people have passed by here today. Oh, Ryan sent you over. You know, Ryan is my buddy. Ryan is my sweetheart. I so love Ryan. I thank him so much for sending you over here. I love me some Ryan. I gotta check his live one of these days again. Maybe tomorrow. Let him sing me a love song. He's always singing love songs for me. I love it. I love it. I love me some Ryan. Look at my friend Vibes with the Thompson's family. Thank you so much for checking in, Vibes. Vibes, how are you doing, my love? I know the other day you weren't feeling too good, and I missed your monetization party. But welcome. Thank you so much for coming, sis. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, I saw the monetization party after, but I was at work. You know me there at work, I can't even peep oftentimes. So, but later you are going to have live later. Right now it is 10:21 where I'm at, and then you're going to have live. Ryan usually comes on at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock my time. So oftentimes when I see Ryan at that time of the morning, I'm at work, and so I might just peep in and see it. It might just, you know, when he comes on, it might just run across my phone screen that he's on, and I might just look in. But oftentimes I don't say anything because I'm at work. So, but sometimes in the mornings when he's on, when I get home, like if he starts at 4 o'clock your time, at my time, if he starts at like 4 or 5 o'clock my time, then I usually catch him. So it all depends on the time when he's on. But Ryan, yeah, Ryan is my guy. Yes, he is. Okay, what's going on with you, Vibes? Do you feel better? I'm glad you're feeling better, my love. I'm glad you're feeling better. Thank you so much for coming in. We have, what's that, 10 million people in the place. Welcome into the chat, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much. Don't forget to hit the like button, guys. Share out the stream and invite your friends and your friends and your friends' friends to come on into the live and let us chat. Let us chat. While we chat, I'm working on my still working on my blanket, guys. So far I reach, because my blanket is so long, I am on, I don't know when this blanket is going to be finished, but I hope it's finished by say June. Okay, guys, we are still talking. It is now, we've been here now two hours. All right, we are going to wrap up on this topic. We are going to wrap up on the topic of this nurse, and then I'm going to just switch off and switch back, just so that this topic is not contaminated, so to speak, with what we're going to do afterwards. All right, so for those of you who were in the chat earlier, we were talking about the nurse. You also saw the topic. We were talking about the nurse who was found guilty for having given the patient the wrong medication and the patient subsequently passing away. We were talking about that, and I sincerely appreciate all the contribution from my friend JB, who is in healthcare as well, and my friend Felicia, who is in healthcare as well, and Derek, who is in healthcare as well, or other people in the chat who contributed to the chat, and those who are staying on the outside and looking in. I want to say thank you all for watching. Thank you all for hitting the like button. Those of you who have hit the like button, if you have not hit the like button, please consider doing so. If you've not yet shared the live, so share the live. Yeah, share the live. Invite your friends. Tell them to come and to listen. Every Tuesday we come here. I also must ask you guys for forgiveness for last Tuesday. You all know last Tuesday I won't well, so that's why I was not. I was out. Yeah, but I am back. Not 100, but you know, I gotta at least come here and bring up a topic and chat with you all, because this is like my life. This is my life. Yes, it is. Anyway, guys, I sincerely appreciate each of you who have contributed to this live. Whether you came in, hit the like button, made a comment, whatever was your contribution to my super chatters, Janice, one super chatter, and my other super chatter, Empire. I want to say thank you sincerely for having come into the chat. And guys, don't forget to connect to Empire. Janice is not a content creator. Respect due to the bigger. Me go on my bed, healthcare, make you tired. Good profession, but me just say. Okay, Derek, thank you so much as always. Yes, man, LK make you stand up on your foot and it make you very tired. I sincerely appreciate you having stopped by, my dear friend. Now you have yourself a fantastic night, and I will see you again whenever I go live again, when the time is good for you, maybe tomorrow or next day, whichever day that I go live. Right now, I've secured Tuesdays for sure. All right. So thank you again so much for coming, guys. This is going to be the end of this live. So until next time, this is Trev from Trevessence, where your journey matters. Ciao, guys. See you later. See you in 5 minutes.